In our liturgical celebrations today, dear friends, we are called to reflect on God, who is always faithful. He is faithful to his promises. He is faithful, and his faithfulness has no end. He is doing this so that we could model our lives after his own faithfulness. In the Malachi chapter 3, the book of Malachi chapter 3 verse 6, the Lord said, "No, I, Yahweh, do not change, and you have not ceased to be children of Jacob." No, I, Yahweh, has not changed. I remain the same. In the prophecy of Isaiah 46 from verse 3 to 4, the Lord said, "Listen to me, house of Jacob, all who remain of the house of Israel, whom I have carried since their womb, whom I have supported since you were conceived. Until your old age I shall be the same. Until your gray head I shall carry you." All these passages talked about the faithfulness of God, God re-echoing his faithfulness from one generation to generation. Say, from the moment of your conception through your old age till your death, I remain the same. I will never change. We may be unfaithful. God is faithful. We may tell lies, but he is truth. We may try to deceive God. We may try to deceive ourselves. God remains the same. And that is why he is a covenant-keeping God. He is a faithful God. And the reason why he is faithful is because he is teaching us a lesson, how to be faithful in our lives. This means that even if we, the children of God, have decided to abandon God today in search of another God, he is still our Father. He is still our God. Yet our God will not forsake us. He will still be faithful and love us as his children. He's not going to cease his love from us, even when we are unfaithful. That is why you begin to wonder, why is it that God is loving sinners? People that kill others, they will come and God will pardon them. Sometimes you see Babalawo is still praying, may God help us. So how can the Babalawo who kills others will be saying, may God help us, and God will help that person? Somebody who is a cult member will come to church and be praying, and God will listen to that person. You begin to wonder, why all these things? Somebody will go to the road and rob others. Somebody will be doing all sorts of atrocities, and the mercy of God still abound in his or her life. And you begin to wonder, why? Because St. Paul said to people of Rome, God does not take back his promises. He's a covenant-keeping God. If he says, I will do this, he will do it. Come what may, he stand where he is. He will not change position. We human beings may change, but he remains the same. We may go away, but he is still waiting for us to come back. For those who wantonly break faith, those people are to be held accountable for their own irresponsibilities. Now, my dear friends in Christ, I want us to look at our own history. Pause for a while. Was there any time God has demonstrated his faithfulness in your life? Was there any time when you were faced with trouble and God actually proved to you that he is God. If there was, how has that moment challenged you to trust him today? He did that for you to be sure that no matter what your situation may be, he's still there for you. There was a time he was faithful to you. There was a time he was there for you. And now, ask and check yourself, your present predicament. Whatever you are facing now, if he was there for you, who told you he will not be there for you today? Think about those difficult moments when you thought that it was almost over. But here you are, still making it in life. Have you ever thought of it? Appreciating God for his faithfulness. This morning, I asked the choir to intune a song for us. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, thy mercy I see. All I wanted, all I need, you have provided. But how often do we recount the deeds of the Lord? How often do we call to mind the faithfulness of God in our lives? Sometimes because the particular needs we asked for are not granted the way we wanted, we tend to forget so easily that God does not care about us. And that is why some of us, because of a lack of patience, our impatience will drive us to go and be searching for solution elsewhere other than God. Unknown to us that the solution we are looking for is right here with us. We begin to look for solution for money, for children, for fame, for position, for anything we could think of. God is a covenant keeping God. We can appreciate God's faithfulness by being faithful ourselves. That is, faithful to ourselves, to our neighbors, and to our God, even when things seem not to be going well the way we wanted. Even when things seem not to be going our own way, we ought to be faithful. We need to wait for God. One of the ways to be faithful, to keep your faithfulness alive, is to wait on God's promises. That is why, in the second reading, the author of the letter to the Hebrews puts before us Abraham and Sarah as models of the faith in God. They heeded the voice of God and responded. They believed in his salvation, even when appearances suggested the contrary. They were always vigilant. The author to the letters to the Hebrew, the second reading this morning, puts it very clearly that it was bringing life out of dead body, because Sarah was far beyond the age of conception. Abraham was far beyond the age. Yet these people were believing in God's promises, waiting on God, even though they are waiting according to human mind seems to be like a foolish action. But I must tell you, my dear friends, St. Paul said to the people of Corinth in 1 Corinthians that while the Jews expecting miracle and the Greek expecting wisdom, here we are talking about Christ crucified. In the eyes of men, it is foolishness. So if you begin to demonstrate your faith, people begin to mock you. They will yab you. They say, keep waiting on God until you die now. Keep waiting on God now. Help those who help themselves. And they begin to search for solutions other than God. But in the case of Abraham and Sarah, they waited on God. They were faithful to the end. Even what makes their faithfulness to be so surpassing was the fact that when God gave them the child they have been expecting for years, the promised child, Isaac, God also came back again and said, give me back that child. I want you to give it back to me. The only hope you have, kill it for me as a burnt offering. Use your hand to kill it. Abraham still believed in God, that he has the power to raise the dead. if he has power to create from me, I who is far beyond the age, to give me this child, even if I kill this child, he has power to raise another one. What a profound faith. Very profound. He believed in God, that even in that, even if I should offer my child Isaac, my only hope, when I know that it is humanly impossible for my wife to conceive again, God has the power to bring another one. And so he was willing to offer Isaac. And that is the faith. They become the model for us. Now, the question we must ask ourselves today: how am I being faithful to God? And how committed am I to my faith as Catholic? You will agree with me, dear friends, that we are in an era where so many people are drifting away from the true faith. So how am I helping people in this faith? And how am I helping to preserve this faith? Jesus said in the Gospel of Matthew, when the Son of Man comes again, will he find any faith on earth? Faith is a major problem of this generation. Many of us, we are taking a pragmatic approach to faith, an empirical analysis. We want everything to be verified empirically. Anything that we are not seeing, then it does not exist. Faith has nothing to do with the physical. Faith has to do with the spiritual. You see the possibilities. The men of faith, you see the possibility in adversity. But people who have no faith will even see difficulties in possibility, in opportunities. But if you have faith, in the adversity, you see possibilities. You see the solution. But those who have no faith, even in opportunity, they are still being afraid. And so, ask yourself, how am I faithful? Faithful to my promises, my baptismal promises. I promise God that I'll reject Satan, I'll reject sin, I'll be faithful, I'll be doing this. How faithful am I? In the gospel, dear friends, we have this morning. Jesus asked us to be vigilant, because he is coming back at an hour we do not expect. To be vigilant means to be faithful, being a faithful steward. As Peter asked this morning, do you direct this parable to us or to others? I say, who is that wise and faithful steward who will remain faithful, committed to his duty till the master returns? Then that servant is blessed. But to that servant who will say to himself, Organo, they come now. Go begin to play music. They drink and can't get drunk. Then, and the master comes all of a sudden and finds him in that mess. Then he will be blamed. And so, the faithfulness, the vigilance God is talking about is to remain faithful until he comes. And never take our faith for granted or compromise our faith no matter the situation. And so, my dear friends, in our today's, many of us are ashamed to profess our faith as Catholic on the basis of assumption that we may lose one or two things in life. If we want to remain steadfast, then we must let go certain things. But the truth is this, my dear friends, as the saying goes, you cannot eat your cake and have it. It is a two-way traffic. You can't belong to the two at the same time. You must learn to let go all that distracts you from being committed and trust God at all times. It was this church I told this story. A story was told of a young man who claimed to have faith in God. Every day he always professed faith in God. He said, God, you know I love you. I believe you. Because things were moving fine for him. One day, out of curiosity, he went just to have a view of the nature. And so he was climbing a mountain. From the mountain, he slipped. And so he was falling from the cliff. And lo, At the valley of the mountain, there was a big pond full of crocodiles. And from that mountain down to the pond, there was nothing like tree or anything to lay hands on. And he was just rolling down. Fortunately or unfortunately, as you may interpret it, he got hold of his rump, Ipakinochi, a tree that got burnt, but the remnant of it, he got hold of it, and he was hanging between heaven and hell. He looked down, he cannot jump down because crocodiles are waiting for the sumptuous meal. He cannot climb up. He was held between the two devils and started crying to God, "Oh God, I need your help. Come to my rescue. Come to my rescue. You know I trust you. You know I am your friend." And God asked him, "Do you truly believe in me? Do you truly trust me that I can save you in this situation?" He said, "Yes." God, you know now, this is not the time for you to be asking this kind of question. And God responded, "If you truly trust me, leave what you are holding." Then he asked God, "What do you say?" If you are the one, what will you do? Say, leave what you are holding. And he told God, "You are joking. How can I leave this thing? You know the crocodiles are waiting for me. And I cannot go up. If I leave it now, how will I be saved?" And God said, "Then you don't need my help. Because you have something already you are holding on to. If truly you need my help, you would have put me to the test. And let go that which you are holding on to. Then you see if I could be able to save you. Now that you think that my power is limited, and that what you are holding on is stronger than my power, then you don't need my help." So my dear friends, ask yourself, what are you depending on? What is that takes the place of God in your heart? Let go that thing and let God be number one in your life. May the Lord help us to grant us an increment of faith through Christ our Lord.